Hi, I'm Ubby Emerson, joined by me, Ravin Thierson, and we are the Southern Heathens. And let me say this first and foremost: welcome to the fucking show. So for this episode, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really excited for this episode.
Same here. I think this is a topic that kind of gets. I would say it's a lot in many podcasts, especially nowadays. But let me just say, first and foremost, this is the first topic, and this is how Norse/Germanic paganism gets mixed up with neo-Nazi, racist and shit and whatnot. Let me start out first and foremost. We are not folkish heathens. I don't really believe in that. I don't care what skin color you are. I, for one, am a mixed race. My dad's Ukrainian on one side, my mom's half black on the other. So I'm mixed. I grew up in a very mixed family. Don't really care for that racist shit. I just feel like it had to be said, especially nowadays with a bunch of podcasts and whatnot. One thing that I wanted to bring up is, to me, folkish heathenry to a point, I would say just in general, just doesn't make sense. We're all, especially in America here, we're all mixed.
Right.
There's no purity anymore, I guess you could say. There really isn't. And so anyone who says otherwise is probably fucking lying and has never been introduced to DNA.
Right.
So,
right.
What do you got to say about
Well,
that?
I would believe that the gods really don't care what your skin color is, what nation you're from, what language you speak. If the gods come to you, or even if you go to the gods, that's, to me, the only thing that matters. And sure, I mean, should you maybe look into your ancestral pantheon first? Maybe there's a lot of power there for you because of your blood, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters how you feel with the path that you've chosen or the path that's chosen you.
Yeah, I agree on that. I really do. And for me personally, I never really saw race as a thing when it came to paganism in general, and especially the path we're on is Norse paganism. The gods of the gods, they are like, for us, like we said before, they are literal gods, and they have their own agendas. So thinking about someone's skin color, I guarantee, is not something on their mind. And to me, the biggest things that matter most are the honor and respect for the gods. And also, this is a topic that also gets brought up a lot, which is our next one, is what we call, and what not just what we call, but what many people call brositru, plagans, wickatru, whatever you want to call them. And I understand people can be new to paganism, and that's fine. But to watch the show Vikings once and think that you're going to go to Valhalla because you pray to Odin and you wear a fucking Mjolnir, that's not how it works. If you read the stories, that's not how it works at all. Also, the other topic, speaking of Mjolnirs, is having to be gifted, your Mjolnir or something like that, like to be worthy and honorable. Like, no, I understand gifts are a big part of this tradition. Yes, that is true. And the gifts that you get from other heathens or pagans, yes, they should be held in very high respect. And I for one, I wear the gifts that I've gotten for sure. But I don't think that's necessarily a sign of worthiness to the gods. It may be a sign of worthiness to your kindred or, to your fellow heathens, sure. But just because you wear a Mjolnir and you scream Odin in your backyard doesn't mean you're going to Valhalla, dude.
Yeah, you're not. You're most certainly not. It doesn't even matter, really. You're most certainly not going to Valhalla. There's so many other afterlives. Yeah. And speaking on the fact, I don't wear a Mjolnir at all. I have my Vegvasir, which was gifted by you. Thank you very much. And my Tiwaz pendant for my dedication to Tyr. So I don't even wear a Mjolnir. I mean, might I wear one eventually? I'll probably buy my own. It'll be a gift to myself. Maybe that counts. Just...
Yeah, and I've been gifted things before, and I wear them with pride. Because they were gifted by my own Gothi. And I respect him very much, and he's been my Gothi, and he's always respected me. So, but again, I don't think that's worthy to go to Valhalla. Like, guys, remember, Vikings they're not apparent nowadays. They don't exist anymore. That's that era. The Viking age itself is gone. In some cases, the word Viking shouldn't even come out of people's mouths.
Right.
because it makes no sense to. Like, I understand if some people are not just new to paganism, but let's say if they don't even know what the hell it is, and that's an easy example to bring up. Okay, sure, that's understandable. But anything other than that, no, no
Yeah.
one is a Viking nowadays. No one pillages, raids. We don't go to England to do that anymore. We don't go to any other places to make settlements and everything.
Yeah.
And you're not Ragnar Lothbrok. The show
Yeah.
Vikings is a great show for entertainment purposes, but it is not historically accurate whatsoever.
You're most definitely not a direct descendant from him either, and or from Odin. I promise. But yeah, Vikings. That was technically like a job title, and that doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, the closest we have to that are maybe some pirates. And they most certainly aren't Norse or Germanic usually. So
Yeah.
they're not to consider yourself a Viking. If you can LARP all day long, and you can put on all these fancy furs and paints and stuff and walk around in Walmart if you want to. I mean, you might look like an idiot, but you're not a Viking. We are Norse pagans. We are heathens. We are we're not. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And also, too, to another point, I know we're going kind of quick on this, but I'll just bring it up so we can kind of go off of other stuff, is the new pagans. People who come into paganism and have no idea what they're doing, and that's fine. I was the same way, and I guarantee 99% of people were too, unless they were raised in a pagan family, which is like really, really rare. And that's awesome. Trust me, that is fucking awesome.
It is awesome.
But new pagans that come into this, and kind of sucks especially if they do have influence from others who think that they know everything because they watched some Viking show or a movie.
Right.
I think it's kind of a disrespect to the ancestors, and as well as to your own religious / spirituality of it, because that's not the way it goes. The refreshing new pagans, I feel, and this is just my opinion, is to get them to read books.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people aren't necessarily good with reading. Well, then there's Kindle. You can always, or not just Kindle, but
Audiobook.
Yeah, audiobook. That's right. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are great sources, and they have the same exact books, but you can just listen to them as opposed to reading. I, for one, love to read, especially when I'm alone. Have since I was a kid. I definitely think new pagans should just be down into the books, and we should all be down into the books. But as you obviously evolve in your path, it's going to change a little bit. You won't have as much time for reading anymore, and that's fine. But as long as we stick to it, I feel it will better us in the future.
Right. It's fine. It's fine to be ignorant of what something is if you're new to it. It's not fine to be unwilling to learn. We run into these plagans, these brosatru, had lengthy conversations with these people, and they refuse to accept the fact that they're not a Viking because they have 0.2% Scandinavian heritage. They all of a sudden become a direct descendant of Ragnar Lothbrok, and they're Vikings, and they refuse to accept that. And they haven't read one shred of the Eddas. They haven't studied any kind of writings or teachings or anything. They don't watch the videos. They don't listen to the experts. They watch Marvel, and hey, Thor and Loki. Loki's Thor's brother, and it's wild. And Hela is their sister. It's wild to think that somebody is that unwilling. Willful ignorance bothers me.
Yeah.
But the willingness of a new pagan to learn is very refreshing. To see these people. Sure, Marvel and Vikings have brought new pagans to us, and that to me is a refreshing thing. That's great. But the ones that are unwilling to learn, and they're just they like romanticize the religion. They have to wear, like you said, they have to wear that Mjolnir. They've got to be in your face, and if you step on their toes one bit, oh, they're gonna chop you down with a axe. They're gonna, you know,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I was to that point too, and I'm not going to name this group specifically, but I just left a group on Facebook because I'm a part of a few groups on Facebook, pagan groups, and I think it's awesome to hear different points of view and also different sources I've never even heard of. I think that's awesome, especially by well-known scholars and authors and whatnot. Because there's always something else to learn. Because we know, I think Jackson Crawford, PhD, said we know. I think correct. And anyone can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but he said we know maybe 5% of what the ancestors practiced. Maybe, and that's just Norse Germanic paganism. That's not even counting all the other branches of paganism throughout the world. It's like you said, the willingness to learn. That is, I guess, a big thing now, especially because we haven't been raised in a pagan world.
right.
I think not just the Native Americans, but also the Baltics. They were the Baltics in Europe were, I think, the last to be converted to Christianity in the 1400s. I'm pretty sure they were the last ones, and you can see actually a lot of their traditions today, and a lot of like their paintings and their traditional dresses and whatnot, and the clothes that they wear kind of reflect that. But again, though. 1400 years, or sorry, the 1400s was well over 600 years ago. So we haven't grown up in that state
Right.
of mind.
Right.
Not just the religion and spirituality of it, but we haven't grown up in that state of mind that people like to believe that they might grow up in, especially after being a brosa true
Yeah.
or something like that. So yeah, it baffles me, but I understand there are new people, and also I have no problem with LARPing. Hell, I actually do want to go and do some LARPing.
LARPing is fun, man.
Yeah, I've never done it before, but I've heard it's really fun, and I would love to do it. But I also know that it has nothing to do with our religion and spirituality.
Right.
It has nothing to do. This is purely out of fun and what people enjoy, and I have no problem with that. And like I said, I want to do some LARPing one day.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you can do a blow or a ritual in pants, flip flops, and a flannel shirt. You don't have to wear furs and cloaks, and you don't have to paint your face. Sure, that brings a great aesthetic to the whole atmosphere of what you're doing, but that it's not necessary to connect with the gods. It's not necessary to connect with the spirits. It's not necessary at all. The whole thing about rituals and bloats and stuff is the intention that you bring, what you have in your heart and what you give as far as an offering or a sacrifice. That's all that's about. You don't have to look the part.
yeah, I definitely for myself at least. I definitely try, especially for a bloat or ritual. I try my best, depending on what day it's going to be done on. If something comes up, because obviously nowadays we all work, jobs of some sort, or some people own businesses, so it's not always pretty, and it's not always like, hey, if you do have fur or you do have a cloak or something, and you can wear it, well, yeah, fuck it, why not? I do whenever I can, but I understand if I do intend on doing a ritual or something, and it's that time to do it, but I've also been busy all day, and I don't have time to, I guess you could say, dress up for it. Then I'm not going to, because like you said, all the meaning and the intent, that is what matters overall. Like you said, I don't think Odin is gonna care that I'm wearing sweatpants and my weightlifting shoes because I just came back from the gym.
Right.
If I have to do a ritual because I planned on doing it and the intent is definitely there and I've committed to it, then yes, that is the biggest thing that matters.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem is people that believe it matters. It really doesn't, and we have to work towards, as a community, first of all, back to the main topic, making sure that everyone's welcomed properly, regardless of your gender, your sexual orientation, your skin color. Everyone's welcomed properly. The gods don't care. And of course, educating the new pagans and making sure that they don't romanticize and turn our faith, our religion, our spirituality into a monotheistic kind of religion. This isn't Christianity. Odin's not Yahweh. Valhalla's not heaven. we need to kind of take a step back and recenter ourselves as a community and make sure everyone's educated properly.
Hmm.
And that's the bottom line to that.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of romanticizing too, especially when, for example, Loki. I've honored Loki before. I've done rituals to him, and I definitely honor him as much as I can. But this is not the Marvel Loki. This is not your sweet little sensation jokester type. Loki is a god slash, well, technically giant, and he is mischievous. And like I said, these guys are gods. They're not fucking around. It's serious when you do something like that. It's a serious ritual. So again, the intent is the biggest thing that matters, at least from my personal point of view, from what I've seen. And if it's not there, it's probably not going to work.
Right, and that brings up another interesting point too. I mean, actually, being serious during your bloats and rituals and stuff, it's unbecoming of a Norse pagan to act childish and act foolish while people are trying to hail the gods and hail their ancestors. Uh, you know, so people need to learn to be a little more respectful of our path. And there's a time for festivities, and there's a time to let loose and to feast and drink and have fun, and there's a time to be serious and understand what's going on with the gods and why we're doing what we're doing and why we're hailing who we're hailing, and to actually observe the ritual properly. I think that's an important point, that we need to stress as well, that, this isn't a game. Many of us take this very seriously. We're not just here donning furs and having fun. We're really serious about what we believe.
Yeah, we're not here flashing our axes, to see whose is sharper, whose is bigger, whose works better. Like, okay, for one, we're in the 21st century. The only time I'm probably going to use an axe now is to cut wood. Unless I actually literally had to defend myself with an axe, I probably have no need to actually carry it around.
Right.
So, again, that's another broach the truth thing.
Right.
And, again, too, when it comes to, back to the point of gifting stuff, when it comes to, like, a gift or when it comes to taking seriously a bloat or a ritual, when it comes to something like that, like you were saying, it is super important to take this seriously. I've gotten gifts from my Gothi before, and I took that to heart, and I still do nowadays because it means that much more to me, and the bond and the strength that has been put into this has only gotten stronger. Since I've became a part of that, because I took that path and I took that gift from him, and I really really appreciate that. I guess I can't stress enough how important it is to be serious too. I hate that shit when I've seen rituals and bloats done before where people weren't taking it seriously. They were acting childish, or they had too much to drink and they started drinking, or I guess not just too much to drink, but they started doing it before they even the ceremony started. Because not just as pagans, but I understand. People drink. I drink. I do. I have no problem with it. But also too, when it comes to a bloat and a ritual, that's not the thing on my mind. What is on my mind is the bloat and the ritual. Everything else that happens, that can come afterwards. That's it's like work. People, like I said this in one of the other episodes. People sacrifice 8+ hours, and I say plus because, like I said, I know probably a lot of you work more than that, but 8+ hours a day to make money. And that same mentality should be applied when you're doing a bloat and ritual. It may not be 8 hours per se, but the importance of it should be.
I mean, I completely agree. I mean, you have to treat the ritual, treat the bloat like it's something serious to you, and I guess we have to. It all comes back to education. Like, we have to teach these new pagans that this isn't a game. We're serious, and they can either accept it or not.
Yeah. And I'll bring back a point earlier, like you were saying, the so-called Yahweh heathens. So this also goes back to the atheistic heathens, and this isn't a bash on either of them. But this is the point of this topic, is literally, if you're a pagan or a heathen, we believe in the gods literally. If you don't believe in them literally, then why do a bloat?
Right.
Why do a ritual? And people can call this hypocritical or not, but why wear a Mjolnir? Why have any runic tattoos? Because you think they're cool or something? I mean, I don't get tattoos because I think they're cool. Because that to me, that's just ridiculous. But regardless of what tattoo it is, why do that? And if you're monotheistic, then why are you worshiping the Norse gods? Or why do you so-called say that you're worshiping the Norse gods? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Heathenry and Norse paganism is like a literal belief in the gods. Sure, I'm not going to say there wasn't some atheists back then. Of course there was. There's probably been atheists in every single part of human history that we can probably go back in time. I would say that I see the Yahweh heathens now, and I see a lot of atheistic so-called heathens too. Either one side of the branch thinks that all the gods are metaphorical and all the stories are metaphorical, and then Yahweh heathens, they kind of think of the same thing, I guess, is the gods, are metaphorical, and there's only one God. And it's like, no, for one, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because that's not what the stories actually say. They never once actually prove that they're metaphorical. And two, again, we're polytheists. We believe in literal gods.
Yeah. Multiple gods and goddesses.
And I remember hearing a podcast, and I won't name them because I'm not sure if they want to be named, but they did make a great point about Snorri Sturluson, because I know he gets a lot of hate. It's weird though. He's been dead for almost 1,000 years. He gets a lot of hate, for writing the Eddas, and to me that doesn't make a lot of sense too. Because sure, he was a Christian at the time, but he was closer to our true ancestral paganism than we will probably ever be in our lifetime.
Right.
And the way not just he interpreted it, but the way I interpret it too, is he was a man who, yes, he was Christian, but he was interested in writing in the beliefs of the ancestors. He truly wanted to. Obviously, the church had other plans, and yes, there is probably obviously Christian influence within it, but I would say it definitely a minuscule amount per se. And mind you, too, he's also going from his point of view, and I don't think it was he's purposely trying to make the gods seem like they're human. I think it was just from his point of view that, yes, he probably ended up doing that by accident. But, I think I personally believe he was genuinely interested in writing these.
Well, not only that, where would we be today if he didn't?
Exactly.
And I also wanted to touch on another point that you made earlier, to expand on it, about wearing the Mjolnir or tattooing runes and stuff on your body. Do not put runes on your body or wear a symbol if you don't understand what it means. You're opening yourself up to so many negative or adverse effects if you do that. You have no idea what you're meddling with. Don't do it. If just because it looks cool and just because you think you have Viking blood, don't put a set of runes on your body if you do not know what it means. You're tampering with something that you shouldn't be tampering with. You need to really study your runes. You need to really study the culture before you do something like that. I think that's an important point to make.
Yeah, and also too, like the whole Vegvasir, people are getting it because they think it's a Viking Age symbol. Like, look, I have the Vegvasir tattooed on me, but not because I think it's a Viking Age symbol, because truthfully it's not, and that's been proven many times over. I got it for my own personal reasons. But yeah, to your point, getting stuff randomly tattooed on you because it looks cool, it makes no sense. It opens you up, like you were saying, to sometimes bad things, and two, you look like a fool.
Yeah.
When you do it, you really do. It'd be like a Christian or a so-called Christian who gets a Bible verse on them and claims that they follow the Bible to a T, and actually their actions speak the exact opposite.
Right. A lot of this can be quite. It's hard to say this and not be sneered at, but it's kind of insulting when you see people just play around with our beliefs like it's just a game to them. Don't come here with with us, the Norse pagans that are taking our religion seriously, and try to bastardize it with your games and your childishness and your ignorance. I mean, if you're here willing to learn, that's fine. But if you're going to be thick-headed and you're going to be confrontational and you're not going to listen, just go back to Christianity, man, because that's obviously what you're trying to do. You're trying to Christianize our religion, and I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Well, with that being said, we can go on to another topic, and I thought it'd be appropriate to say that it has to do more with the land spirits. And if people haven't read, the ancestors had more contact with the land spirits more than they did the gods, from what I've read.
Right.
And it was on a daily basis. Because again, the gods are here. We definitely believe they are real, but they're not omnipresent. To think that they are omnipresent it's another Christian aspect or belief. The land spirits, however, are there just about anywhere you go. And today, we went to Tishomingo State Park here in Mississippi, and it was beautiful, I might say. It was amazing.
One of the most beautiful places you can lay your eyes on.
Yeah, I'm new here to Mississippi, and that was a pretty beautiful, hills, little mountaintops, and a big, beautiful lake, and you could just feel the land spirits there, and it was an experience I'll never forget, and I definitely want to go back and actually camp next time.
The energy there, man, was beautiful and at times almost overwhelming. You just feel, you can feel the spirits and the energy just surrounding you. And a lot of people don't realize, and we've mentioned it in earlier episodes, that Alcorn County, Tishomingo County, parts of Tennessee and Alabama are the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. Tishomingo County State Park, you actually see a lot of the Rocky Mountainous parts of the foothills. And, when you walk up the trails and stuff, you have remnants of the mountains, and you can see the layers of stone, and you can feel the land spirits through those mountains. And, of course, the Appalachian folk magic, that obviously the energy is just flowing through those parts of land, and the things that those people have done, you can feel it, and it's a very beautiful experience. It's a very beautiful sight, and I would love to camp there as well, multiple days.
I'd recommend for any pagans in general, not just Norse, but any pagans in general, to go and camp there, because holy shit, that was awesome. Ever since I've been here in Mississippi, a little personal thing. So in Washington, where I lived, there was a lot of places to go when it came to like hikes and nature trails and stuff, but it was usually packed. Like there was so many people there, and to me that just became overwhelming, because I'm there for the nature and not to see other people per se. And people can say, "Oh, that sounds kind of rude." It's like, well, no, I'm just being honest. Like
Right.
when I'm actually trying to go out and immerse myself in nature, the only people I'd probably want to be around more than likely is more than likely pagans, or people, not just them, but like people who really enjoy nature, because there's a silence between people who actually enjoy that and
Right.
actually can sit down for a second and not just take pictures, but just sit down or stand up and just immerse yourself in the energies that are going through there. And yeah, we did take a bunch of pictures and whatnot, but there were times where we just stopped and just, it was like a meditation almost.
Yeah. There's definitely a sound to the silence.
Mm-hmm.
You can really hear the spirits, and you can feel their energy when you sit there and you shut off the noise, and you just absolutely listen to the wind blowing through the trees, to the leaves on the ground rustling, to the water flowing, and it's just a very beautiful sensation that you get. And I can say beautiful 100 times, because this really doesn't give it any justice. It was just an amazing experience, and I've been there before, but to experience that with another pagan really brought that to life for me, and it was amazing.
Yeah, for me as a first timer, that was completely beautiful. And again, when I was in Washington, I did go to a lot of places to hike over and over again. So that kind of didn't get old. I guess the best words to put, but it was something I'd already seen before, and this is something completely new, and I'm immersing myself in it. Kind of a what do I have to lose mentality kind of thing. Because I don't. I have everything to gain, especially since I've been here, and it's been amazing. And that park today. Holy shit. That
Yeah.
was amazing.
And we only hiked one small corner of that park. We didn't even see. We saw maybe 1% of what was there. And I cannot wait to go back. And we're definitely going to camp.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. I thought it was funny too when I guess for me at least, I don't know about you, but for me at least, when I'm immersing myself in nature too, not just the standing or the sitting down and just being silent, but the physicalness of it, because we had to climb, in some parts of it, and I thought that was amazing, and I love that, and I miss that. I really do, because I hadn't gotten to do that in a long time.
Right. Well, I'm not, there's obviously the walking trail. So to be completely transparent with the listeners, we didn't actually have to climb, but we did go off the trail and kind of climb the mountain. So,
well, because we saw these giant rocks, and to me, they looked really interesting. So I was like, well, fuck it, let's go off trail.
Yeah.
We weren't that far from my truck anyway, so it wasn't like we were, going completely off the beaten path. But
yeah, we weren't going to get hurt or get lost, without being within earshot of maybe a park ranger or something. But, yeah, the boulders were they were bigger than SUVs, and they're huge, and little caverns in between them, and those little hidden paths that nobody's really ever walked through, at least within the last 100 years. So it was just beyond amazing, that experience.
Yeah, I can't say enough from that place, and I can't wait to explore more, around here. And I can't wait to possibly go up more into the northern parts of the Appalachians because, so far, I mean, we're just at the foothills of it.
Yeah, we definitely need to
we're
travel.
in it, technically. We're in it, but we are the foothills, though.
Yeah.
And it is so beautiful, so beautiful. And, we've said this before in other episodes, go out in nature, go outside,
Right.
even if it is a little bit of a drive sometimes for people because obviously, a lot of people probably live in a city or something like that. But even if it is a drive, it's definitely worth it. I probably spent maybe almost $70 on gas today, going back and forth. And that's not just counting the state park. That was just all the driving in general that I had to do. But it was all worth it.
It was definitely worth it.
And I have no problem spending money to go out into places in nature where I can just go out and immerse myself because that's it's worth it completely.
Yeah, it is very worth it. Well, we're coming up on 35 minutes, man. I think this is a really good episode.
Yeah, I think it was too.
Yeah. You have anything else you want to add?
I will say, thanks for joining us again, and it's been a pleasure for those who are listening, and I can't wait to make the second episode, or not second, sorry, the fourth episode, the second episode of this weekend, but the fourth total episode in general. That will be coming up very soon.
Yeah.
And that one will be covering more of the stories from the Eddas and how we interpret them, and then Asir, Vanir, Thurzer, and Jotun, and I'll explain more about Thurzer and Jotun. They are giants, yes, but there's definitely differences, and I'll explain that more in the fourth episode. So anything you have to say?
Oh, that's about it. If you just like the content, make sure you follow us on all the streaming platforms. And if you want to get a hold of us, it's thesouthernheathens@gmail.com. All one word, thesouthernheathens@gmail.com. And again, we are working on a website. We do have an active Facebook page. We don't have a link for it just yet, but if you really like the content, come back on and give us a listen. Thank you.